of the town for a minute because so what did I just tell the
So,
story?
yeah, tell me about the first time you had an interaction with a telephone.
Okay, I was in the elementary school in the lower grades, and the day was there that the teacher said, tomorrow you children can listen to the telephone. And so then that was so sad that day came and it was postponed. And when it finally was my turn, I think the following week, because we had a whole class of children, that time we had to move on to another city. So by moving and having to go away, I never had the opportunity to have that receiver on my ear, just to listen and to have a telephone on your ear, just the receiver. And that was quite a disappointment for me. I've never forgotten it. Just was my turn and we had to move. We had to go.
Oh.
So I never got that moment that I had the receiver on my ear. And that was in elementary school. I don't know exactly. Well, elementary school is quite young.
Yeah,
That's what it was. Yeah.
that's cool. And I guess were there TVs in Holland?
Pardon me?
Were there televisions in Holland before you left? Before you left Holland,
Yeah.
were there televisions?
Oh, a television?
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding? A television came, I think the first television that came in our house, Henry was already in school. When did President John F. Kennedy assassinated? And we just had the first time black and white used television in our house. And I remember that was such big news. I was in the kitchen. Henry just got home from school, so he was allowed to turn the TV on, otherwise I would not have had it on, black and white. And then all of a sudden I heard the big news. And I've never forgotten that Henry was grade 3, I think. And that was the news that John F. Kennedy been assassinated, and this was black and white, a used television, and just a small screen with a few buttons. That was when Henry was, well, grade 3. What could you have been?
Grade
3.
3, yeah.
10?
Yeah, I think you're about 10. Yeah.
He wasn't even 10.
Maybe 8.
No, he wasn't
9?
10. It was, that all of a sudden comes up now that
Because I think I turned 12 in grade 6.
he was in school. Yeah, must have been because, yeah, it was about that time. It was about that time. But that's how it was. And that was black and white, used, just a cabinet, you know, you had a cabinet, like, and it was in there, small screen. But that's how I remember it. John F. Kennedy. Yeah. And that was the TV, black and white. Matter of fact, when we moved, we had just an old, it was fairly new, a black and white. It was little used. And so I like the stand of it where this swivel TV is on. And we put it in our living room, it's still there. And we ignored it, it just sits there because I thought someday I want to use that swivel and put another TV on. It never happened because we bought a Zenit for downstairs. And instead of TV in the living room, from then on, TVs were in the back room downstairs. And we had a Zenit, a swivel, and that was colored when we moved there. And now I have a big screen. And
Yeah, with Skype in it and everything, right?
Skype in it,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, it has all kinds of gadgets. A bit more than I can use, but I can use the basics on my DVD. I can, and I have a video player. I can put a video on, and now Skype. But all these things you have to learn, and that's difficult because I have about 3 or 4. What do you call it, the gadgets?
Remote controls.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to keep it separate, and to be able to do that. But Jim is a good teacher. He was a teacher, as you know, a long time in the military college, and a teacher. And so he's very good passing it on because electronics is his field. So he has the patience to pass it on, And if he thinks I am about there, then he starts to write everything down.
Right.
And if I question it, all I have to do is read my notes. And if I'm lucky, yes, then it works. So far, so good. But I don't know how much longer. But of course, I know, you know.
Well, don't feel bad because my dad still requires notes, and they always ask. They have questions for me every time I go over there too.
Yeah, well, it is confusing. And now I'm, you know, in my 60s, or in my 80s, I mean. So it is, yeah, it is a challenge. And I know my senior friends, I do better than most because of having Jim by my side teaching. You have to do that so slow and so careful with seniors or they'll never grasp it.
Right.
So most of my seniors, there are seniors that are a bit advanced, that the people that were intellectual in their lives and they had computer, but not quite in my age, a little younger, they had to be younger. And then they are able to have a computer and play some games on it and so, and they can do a little bit of get their information from it, but very basic. It goes very basic. And not so long ago, an interesting story, they had the seniors, they had a meeting actually, or a few hours that you could go there and there would be a police officer explaining to the seniors, talking about the safety with your computer. And that was an eye-opener. He says, you're seniors, he says, you're so gullible. He says, and you put everything on there, of everything. You don't have to put everything on there, he says, but you leave it there and anybody can find out everything about you because you don't play it safe. You put it there and you think you're fine. Turn the TV off,
Yeah.
and then you think the computer off, and then they think you're good. He says, no, I could tell you some stories what the seniors go through because they put, you know, private or even their own address with some private numbers or something, or whatever they have, they just put it there. They don't think any further. He says, watch what you do. So, of course, I had no intention of having a computer anyway, but but that told me something. And boy, what came up on that meeting was unbelievable. And this police officer, he is in charge of that. He is the one that had trained in it, and he is in charge of at the police force with that topic for the seniors. So anyway, but we live happily ever after. And my life is, I think, seniors' life can be almost simpler. I mean, if we want to see something from our children, we have a photo album. Right there, you open the photo album, we have all we want to see, talk about it, it's that simple. The photo album's in the house, you pull it out of a drawer, sit beside them and see this was Henry, that was Eddie, that was Jimmy, and so on.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And that's all you want to know, because they get tired after half a book or one photo album, depends, and they'll say, that's enough now. Let's have another cup of coffee, let's talk about senior stuff. So there.
And have you? I know that I think my dad's talked to you about Facebook before.
Yeah, he was thinking of,
Yeah, because we were talking about getting you an iPad or something, just teaching you just how to use the one application, Facebook, so you could see
And you know what?
activities of the
If
family.
it comes in the back door, I throw it out in the front door. I just don't want any more because to me right away you think of if you can't use it and you haven't got the ability to use it, it's just another item that you don't want
Yeah.
or on the table. So if you go too far, it turns off all the rest. They say, I've had enough now, I don't want anything, I don't even want to watch that anymore.
Right.
So
It's just frustrating.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
And you guys, none of you people have been 80 yet. How would you know
Yeah.
what 80 is all about, or in the 80s?
Yeah.
So be there first and then we'll talk again.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Thanks, Oma.